Concealed carry mom protects herself and her daughter when a guy tries to break into the outside, break in from the outside through the window in South Shore neighborhood.
Into her daughter's bedroom.
They asked, yes, that her and her family's identities be concealed, but she basically said, next time you think about coming through somebody's window, you just remember how that bullet felt. That's what the daughter said. The mom said, try not to be out here committing crimes, especially trying to come into somebody's house because you never know what's on the other side of that window. Exactly. Well,
way to go, Mom.
But the larger point is, first of all, the reality that you're going to be responsible for your own safety, whether you want to be or not. Just the reality that is papered over with the beautiful lies the political ruling class in this city tell. We got you. No, they don't. And frankly, they can't. They can't. Not when you have the people in charge that you have advancing the policies they're advancing. So just, one note on this, just one anecdote that actually made it to the press, which is surprising in and of itself. And the other thing is, it would be nice to hear from law enforcement on this. It'd be nice to hear from, I don't know, any politician on this. I don't know who's left that's speaking much sense. Maybe
Alderman Lopez.
Yeah, Raymond Lopez. But
he's the only one
or
who'll come on this show.
Napolitano or Spazzato. I don't know. Somebody. Taveras. I don't know. It's unfortunate this is the case, but it's that mom took the action she did. She actually warned him. She fired what she thought was a warning shot, but it winged him in the leg. Shoot center mass. You're protecting your family. Eddie Johnson is the former superintendent of the Chicago Police Department. He joins us now. Eddie, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan and Amy, thank you for having me this morning.
So what about that? I mean, I know the police don't always want to weigh in on residents who protect themselves, law-abiding residents who protect themselves from criminals. But, I mean, when you have 2,100 people shot, as is the case so far this year in Chicago, this is certainly part of the conversation about people that are responsible gun owners, licensed gun owners, and they protect themselves, and they send the message, hopefully, that deters some criminals out there, like Mom sent, which is you crawl inside somebody's window, you never know what's on the other side.
That's exactly right. We all have a right to feel protected, be protected, and the law gives us that right. I mean, when you think about the city of Chicago, according to CPD data, from January to August 31st of this year alone, we had 30,000 ShotSpotter alerts. 143 gunshot victims were rendered aid because of the ShotSpotter alert. And trust me when I tell you, that's probably lowballing it. Nearly 30,000 shell casings were recovered, 470 firearms, 451 arrests made. Because of technology like ShotSpotter, you have police getting there 2.5 minutes by average earlier than they would if we had a 911 call, which we don't get a lot of the times. So if you go into somebody's residence and you're met with deadly force, then so be it, because you had no business in there. So I applaud, what happened.
Now, did ShotSpotter, did it go off in this case with the woman protecting her daughter? Or is it too early?
Yeah, I think it's too early to say. But a lot of times it won't capture it unless you're close to like an open window or something. But an alert inside of a building is a little difficult at this time.
Well, let's talk about ShotSpotter, because that's scheduled to be mothballed, at least in the city of Chicago here. And where does that stand? And what, if any, sort of internal political pushback is being provided by police?
Well, let's look at it. So it stands to be turned off. I think it's the 22nd of September. So in a couple of weeks. I know I still get around the city on all sides of the city, and I haven't run into one cop that's not a proponent of ShotSpotter. You had Superintendent Snelling actually out there saying that he still is a proponent of ShotSpotter and doesn't want to lose it. And here's the thing. It's frustrating for me, and I'm sure for him as well as the thousands of officers that are out there, because you have a piece of technology that wasn't represented lower crime, but that's a byproduct of it, because it shows the police where to make adjustments in terms of deployment. Now, if we lose it, here's what I can tell you is going to happen. If we lose it, we're going to have a misinformed sense of gun fire in the city is going down, because we know already 70% of gunshots go unreported by citizens for whatever reason that they don't call. So because they don't call, then we're not going to be able to capture that data. Therefore, it's going to seem as though shots being fired in the city is going down. Another potential unintended consequence is because CPD is able to respond so much faster and actually find victims. Remember, the last two police officers that were murdered in Chicago, the only reason the police officers even got to them, and tragically not in time, was that there was a ShotSpotter alert. So what's going to happen potentially is, because we don't get to these victims or don't know about them, people could bleed out, and an unintended consequence is the homicide rate will then go up, because we know for a fact that CPD is able to respond to these gunshot victims and either render aid to them first or get them to some place or call fire so that they can be rendered aid. So those are the potential risks once we lose it.
But the problem is, Superintendent Johnson, the problem is, according to Brandon Johnson, ShotSpotter is racist.
You know what? Listen, it's not ShotSpotter's fault that the majority of gunfire is occurring in black and brown neighborhoods. That's just the reality of where we are right now in this city. And I hope one day we don't need a technology like ShotSpotter or need 13,000 cops. But you can't say it's racist if that's where the gunfire is being perpetrated. That's just how it is in this city. So what I will say is that it's pro black and brown communities, because it's helping to keep them safe. And I will say this, and I'll say this until I'm not here anymore. You can't put a price on public safety. And the simple fact of it is, if gunfire is occurring on the south and west side, then we should do everything we can to ensure that those folks not only feel safe, but that they are safe. So, no, it's not a racist technology. Give me a break with that.
Well, how many people has ShotSpotter helped arrest?
According to the data, we know that there's about 450-something or so arrests made because of ShotSpotter alerts. And you listen, when we first initiated ShotSpotter back in 2018, I think it was, in that first 30 days, I'll never forget this. I was stunned because I responded to a gunshot incident in the 7th District. And they got there so quickly that the guy was still shooting when they got there, so they were able to make the arrest. And that continues to occur. But those are things that's difficult to quantify, because when crimes don't happen because the police get there so soon, then it's hard to measure the things that you prevent from happening.
One of the things that just strikes me as a grotesque irony in the city of Chicago is that the most violent neighborhood is the mayor's neighborhood. 37 homicides, 134 wounded in the Austin neighborhood so far this year. And so I would just ask you, do the residents of Austin or Inglewood have a point when they say, boy, the mayor's got 100+ cops assigned to his security detail, and it's nice that he's safe. Boy, when the DNC comes to town, they turn the footprint for that convention into East Berlin, and they bring overwhelming force in terms of policing, and the police did a great job, and there were some arrests, but, nobody shot, nobody hurt. Boy, it'd be nice to see that sort of presence directed in my neighborhood that's been turned into a shooting gallery, despite the fact that the mayor lives in it.
Yeah, that's the irony of all this. The area that he lives in, you're absolutely right, Dan. It's very challenging in terms of shots being fired. So it's odd to me that the very people you pledge to protect, you're actually victimizing by taking this technology away. And listen, if we have something else to replace it with, then okay, I'm good with that. But we don't. And if we think that all of a sudden the people that live there are going to start calling in these shots fired calls, that's just not going to happen. So yeah, if I was a resident over there, I would be very upset, and be wondering why we're going to end a technology that has obviously helped CPD do their jobs better.
Why is Mayor Johnson so stubborn? I mean, I know that this was a campaign promise that he made because of the Adam Toledo shooting, but can anybody get to him?
I have not heard that anybody has. All I can say is, what we've heard him say is that it was a campaign promise, and he thinks that the money can be better spent someplace else. But you can't use that bucket of money for social programs. You can only use it for CPD and OEMC-based activities. So I really don't know. And I wish, I think that people that are against ShotSpotter, I think more than anything, the problem is they're just uneducated about how the technology actually helps assist the police department do their jobs.
What's your sense of the relationship that Superintendent Snelling has with Brandon Johnson?
Well, without any inside knowledge of it, but, just from an outsider looking in, when you think back to Ron Emanuel and I, whenever you would see us out together, we were joking around or, always having conversations, and you just don't see that with the two of them. Now, it could just be personalities, but it doesn't seem to me that they're on the same page, because let's face it, Superintendent Snelling was handpicked by the mayor. That's his guy. That's his expert in law enforcement. Superintendent Snelling said he wanted to keep ShotSpotter. However, the mayor is not doing it. So he's not listening to the expert that he hired to keep him properly informed about these situations. So, I mean, just looking at it from the outside in, I think it could be better.
Eddie Johnson is former superintendent of the Chicago Police Department. Eddie, thank you as always for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you all, and have a great Monday.
You too. Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560. The Answer.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will